All right, guys, we made it. This is it. How spooky, right? Does it give anyone the creepy crawlies just yet? It's not dark here yet, but there is a whole day planned out for today, and it is amazing. There is so much history to the land I am walking on at the present moment, folks. This is the oldest standing building that is known in the Bronx, built in 1748. The style we are looking at here is called the Georgian architecture. Recognize that? Georgian architecture? Any of those studying architecture? You can see that, right? It was built by the slaves that Frederick Van Cortlandt, who then later passed it on to his son Jacobus, and it was built by the slaves that family owned at that time. Oh my God. Look at here. Look, okay, and also, this park is 1,146 acres. Like, that's how big it is. Which is significantly more. Oh, I was like, what's that noise? Chipmunk. Little chipmunk hanging out with us. Oh my God, look how big it is. First time here for me, man. I'm liking the soccer goals I'm seeing in the distance. This used to be a once thriving wheat plantation and where a thriving business ran for the family. And now it serves as a tourist attraction and where families bring their dog and picnic boxes and have a great day. Crazy how history like lives on but disappears at the same time, right? So here we go, right here, there it is. I mean, we could even guess that this wrought iron fence is as old as the building too, right? Can we assume that same thing? So technically I'm touching a wrought iron gate from the 18th century right now? That's wild, dude. I'm time traveling. $17.48. It's a damn long time ago. And it's still standing. I wish I could sneak in at night. Oh my God. Can't wait for future adventures where maybe I can get access after I gain some clout or something with like adventure vlog, female solo traveler, like haunted places in America, something like, I don't know, this could be so much fun though. Okay, cool, we got a statue up here. I did not cover the research on this, but let's see, Major General Porter, State of New York, wow, 1886 to 1894. Hello, Mr. Porter. General Porter, excuse me, sir. Wow. Wow. Man, look at those windows. So this house is, yes, it has been reported that this house was a main point for discussions and checking in points during the American Revolutionary War. And I mean, you can just get all the energy looking at this house, right? Like, this is centuries old. This is the oldest building in the Bronx, it's still standing. You can get so much energy just looking in those windows. These are actually called stormer windows. I used to paint those, that's how I know that. Made out of old stone, brick. There's some lights on in there, that's interesting, right? Why are lights on? No one's allowed to go in there. I don't know. So this is a historical landmark. It's been noted that George Washington stayed here a couple of times. General George Washington stayed here a couple of times during the American Revolutionary War. And depending on where you're watching this, it's either called the American Revolutionary War, based off of Americans' opinion, but British don't call it that, right? They call it the American War of Independence. And I wanted to capture a little bit of what's called historiography, which is the history of history, and also show how that mindset can apply to, God, this is so beautiful. How that mindset can apply to our own lives, and we can consider how things don't ever just happen. There's always a lead up to something, right? I'm just gonna walk across this field, see what energies I can pick up. I'm currently making my way, so I showed you guys the house, and then I'm currently making my way to Vault Hill. And sorry if I change subjects like randomly, I'm ADHD, so I always touch back on them though, so don't worry, circle back. It's just how my brain works. And I'm on my way to Vault Hill, which is where this family had their family burial plot, and they hid those city records from the British Army. Crazy shit, right? So I'm literally, it's like a 14-minute walk to Vault Hill, and I'm gonna see if I can like feel energy or pick up anything walking across the burial plot land. And then maybe even later on my way back today, I'll do a little vlog of Woodlawn Cemetery, where, believe it or not, Louis Armstrong was buried. He's buried. And I live in the apartments right by those cemeteries, so I think I'm in the right place, man. Like, the Bronx is so magical and mystical. Like, none of the other boroughs, for example, have like so many cats. Like, there is something diff about Bronx, yo. Oh, I'm walking on a golf. See, it's a golf course now. Isn't that funny how time changes? Maybe I should get the fuck out of the way. I don't see anyone like golfing about to hit me or anything like that, but you see this green thing up here? So, back to what I was saying earlier is that like historiography and the history of history is that the reason this park, the whole point of this video is like, why is Van Cortlandt Park and Van Cortlandt Mansion, we saw over there. I guess it's not a mansion. I kind of built that up, but they said it's a house, but maybe that was a mansion. Shit, back in the 18th century. So crazy to consider history. It's so awesome, right? I love history. We can learn so much, but historiography, like nothing ever just happens. There's always a build-up. So we're gonna work backwards. But the main point that we're gonna start with was the Stockbridge massacre. And that was on this land where it was Mohicans and Wappinger and Leppanese Native American tribes. And there was it was interesting. Some of the research was pointing towards like how the Native Americans back then, if we kind of touch on interstate commerce and how bartering and exchanging goods started, it kind of went from, we have this land in exchange for XYZ of, different ammunition and arsenals, and sometimes even accommodation, and that's how political mechanisms work, right? There's little bribes here and there, there's little gifts, there's this land. There's always, in political science, that's my major from Portland State University, you always have to ask, what would the other person want from that? Critically think, why would they want this land? Why would they negotiate this way? There's always leverage, and people in power want to keep their power. So we had in the Northeast part of America we had during the American Revolutionary War. And again, keep in mind, the British don't call it that, they call it the American War of Independence. And there was a Stockbridge massacre here, and we're working our way back. So then, you know, it was originally April 19th. April 19th was the day that Paul Revere shot the gun as like the revolutionary start of the the sign, the cry of help for the start of the American Revolutionary War. And the reason that there's so much history and haunted feelings here is because there was a massacre here of Native American tribes, and that was also because they were known to be they're warriors. They are warriors. Sorry, my water bottle's fucking bothering me. And they pushed back against the British Army, and they were one of the first to do that. And these Mohicans, Wappinger, and Lebanese. And also buried in this park is Chief Abraham Needham. And I think we're gonna find that too, as well as the Vault Hill where the family burial plot is. So stay tuned for Vault Hill, where the family of Van Cortlandt family burial is, but that was hidden from city records. Their city records were hidden from the British Army at the time. And then we're also gonna find the Chief Abraham Needham burial plot, and see if we can pick up any interesting messages or energy in that area as well. And it was 1775, April 19th, that Paul Revere, history kind of goes off of what was written and then what was said again and then what people believe. But before that, there was certain outbursts like the Townshend Act or the Boston Tea Party or the Boston Massacre. There's all these built up moments of butting heads, of rebuttal, of death to prove a point. And when death is done to prove a point, it just circles the vicious cycle of history to repeat itself over and over again, because that's like an eye for an eye, right? And just interesting to think about wars and America being involved in wars, because we won the American Revolutionary War, yeah, but we haven't won all the wars. War of 1812, definitely not, and the Bay of Pigs invasion, 1,000 of our men were held hostage by Castro, and even more were killed. There's plenty of tactics to learn from history, though. It's crazy to think that dictators have won sometimes, or they've gained traction in some ways, and they've won by killing thousands of people. Stalin used to just sit in his room at night and write by candlelight all the names of people he wanted dead. It's insane to me that some people get their wish like that. And I'm kind of promoting too that death is a part of life, and it's such a part of life that I heard this really interesting quote from this community resident in the Bronx from a while ago, and he said that he was having interesting conversation with someone else, and that guy said, "Why do people cry when they leave this world, but nobody cries when a baby is born?" We have to accept that death is how babies are born, because without this population decreasing a little bit, we would never be able to bring in new babies. So for anyone that's experiencing death right now, I am by no means saying eradicate your time and dedication to your own grieving process. I am hoping simply to encourage y'all to embrace a perspective on your own timeline, because that's your empowerment, right? On your own timeline, that death is almost as transcendent as birth is. We just have to view it differently. That person's not here with us anymore, but they're in here, right? My mom lives with me every day. Every day my mom lives with me in my spirit, you guys. So, yes, and then the American Revolutionary War went on for quite some time. It ended September 13th, which I think is interesting. It ended on the 13th. That just, isn't that like a really auspicious number? And that ended in 1783. So that went on for almost 10 years. That's quite a while to gain our independence, huh, America? Pretty crazy to consider history and learn and apply it like this. Like, look at those trees. How old are those trees? What the? They're so tall. Think of all the secrets that hedge brush at the top knows and has seen. So many secrets. We can't even imagine. And this park is 1,146 acres large, and that, it kind of pales in comparison because Central Park is 850 or so, 880 or something like that. Under 900 acres is Central Park, and so this park was founded during the Dutch colonial era, and so it stands as the third largest city park in New York City because they were able to get that much land at that time. Think about how cool it is just to be here right now. So yes, stay tuned for the chief burial plot of, or the burial plot land of Chief Abraham Ninham. And also stay tuned for the Vault Hill, which is where Van Cortlandt Park family burial is at. And those city records were kept from the British Army. And so gonna go, not tamper with spirits necessarily. I'm here to respect what was here and know that I'm just a visitor. Simply going to learn and embrace the curiosity and the energy of what is now an open city park, and always respecting what came before me, and hoping to show my homage and respect to all of the cultures that were here before me. I've learned that I'm just a visitor here on Earth, and I'd like to respect the culture and traditions that were here and thriving well before me. So join me if you'd like to come see some history in Bronx from the 18th century. This is so exciting. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everyone that subscribed so far. Peace.